Hello everyone, welcome back to Really Good Crochet. My name's Ali and today we're going to be learning about puffs, bobbles and popcorn stitches. So I've got my double knitting yarn from my stash, my 4mm crochet hook, my scissors, you may need a darning needle, and if you're a beginner, some stitch markers to mark your end and beginning stitches may also prove to be handy. If you're still learning how to spot your stitches, don't worry, that does come with time and with practice. So I'm just going to pull out some yarn. Now we need to pop a slip knot onto our hooks. I do that by wrapping cut end of yarn around my finger twice. You have the front loop and you have the back loop. I take the back loop and pull that over the front loop. Then I take the front loop and pull that all the way over my finger. I can pop the hook into the loop created and tighten down, making sure I can still move my hook nice and freely. Now I don't want to worry too much about how many chains I make today, but I do ideally need both an odd number and a multiple of 5 for the popcorn stitches later on. So I'm going to start with a chain of 16, so that's my multiple of 5, 15 plus 1 for a turning chain. So yarn over the hook, pull through for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we do like to take our time around here, but if you find that you still need to slow me down, you can do that using the settings and using the cog wheel, which you'll find if you're watching from the mobile phone in the top right hand corner here. If you're watching from the laptop, then you'll find the cog wheel down in the bottom right hand corner here. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry about that. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 plus 1, 16. Lovely. Okay. Now we're going to start with a row of single crochet that we can build our stitches up from. So we're going to start in the second chain from our hooks. We never count the chain that's on the hook. We only count the fully formed chain hanging down from the hook. So that's the second chain is 1 and then 2. Now I usually like to work into the back bump of the chain, but I'm going to start in the top of the chain here just to make it nice and beginner friendly. So into the top of the chain there, grab the yarn, pull up the loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both. And then you're going to work 1 single crochet into each of the chains. All the way down the row until you have 15 single crochet. So that's 1 single crochet into each chain all the way down the row, and I'll meet you down at the other end here. Okay, just popping the last single crochet into my chain there. And once you've got all 15 of your single crochet, chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to make puff stitches first of all, into the first of those stitches, just going to pop a single crochet. Now, going to make our first puff stitch. Into that next stitch, yarn over your hook. Let me just bring you in a little bit closer. That's better. Yarn over your hook, into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, back into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up the loop, 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, back into the stitch, grab the yarn, 7 loops on your hook. Now yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. Now into your next stitch, make a single crochet. There's your first puff stitch. Now, I'm going to do that again into your next stitch. You're going to make another puff stitch. So yarn over, into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. Then yarn over, back into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up the loop. You've got 5 loops on your hook. And one more time, yarn over, back into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up a loop. You've got 7 loops on your hook. Then yarn over your hook and pull all the way through. Then into the next stitch, make a single crochet. And there's 2 bobble stitches. So you're going to alternate bobble stitches and single crochet all the way down the row. So let's practice that again. Yarn over, into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over, into the stitch, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, 7 loops on the hook. You're adding 2 loops every time. So you can make your puff stitch bigger by 2 loops with every yarn over. So now yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. So you can make a bigger puff stitch. You can have a 9 loop puff stitch. You can have a smaller puff stitch. You can just have a 5 loop puff stitch. So into the next stitch, make a single crochet. So you're going to keep alternating puff stitches and single crochets all the way down the row. Take your time. There's no rush. And then single crochets into the next stitch immediately after your puff stitches. And the reason they're called puff stitches is because they are puffs of yarn, and you can make those puffs of yarn as puffy as you like. But today we're making those puffs of yarn 3 yarn overs. And then single crochets in the next stitch. And then eventually you'll have 2 stitches left. So in the last but 1 stitch, you'll put your puff stitch, 1 yarn over, 2 yarn overs, 3 yarn overs. It's not a lot to hang on to when it's this early on in the project, but we figure it out, don't we? And then your very last stitch is your single crochet. And that's what it looks like from behind. Chain 1, turn, and there's your row of puff stitches. I do love puff stitches. I know they're not as durable as bobble stitches, but I do love puff stitches. Little clouds of yarn. Okay, so let me just grab my darning needle. I'm going to show you where we're putting our single crochets on the return pass. So we're making single crochets into every stitch on the return pass, and we're going to be making those under both stitches in the single crochets in between the puff stitches, but on top of the puff stitches you're going to be making them into the back loop. So under both loops between the puff stitches, but on the back loop only on top of the puff stitches. So under both loops between them, back loop only on top of them. Let me show you what that looks like. Just get resituated here. Okay, so your first single crochet, beginning of the row, under both loops. And then on top of that first puff stitch, you're going to make your single crochet on the back loop only. And then in between, under both loops, and then on top of the puff stitches on the back loop. So under both loops, back loop only on top of the puff. Under both loops between the puffs, back loop only on top of the puff. Both loops between, back loop only on top of. And that's just so that the structure of the puff doesn't get disturbed. So on the back loop, and then you've got the very end one. And I work into the side of the turning chain because it keeps the rows nice and straight. Chain one and turn. So that's your puff stitch. Now we're going to do a bobble stitch, your bobble stitches. But we're going to offset, so you're going to start by putting in one single crochet in the first stitch and one single crochet in the second stitch. Now, a bobble stitch is a cluster of double crochets that is then scrunched down with a single crochet in the next stitch. Let me show you what that looks like. Yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 3 loops on your hook. You've got 3 partially formed double crochets so far. You need 2 more. Yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 4 loops on your hook. Then yarn over, one more time, back into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. You've got 5 loops, 5 partially made double crochets on your hook. So yarn over, pull through all 5 loops, and then into that very next stitch, make a single crochet. Make it nice and firm. And there's your bobble stitch. I'm going to do that again. So yarn over into the next stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. There are 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a hook loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a loop. Oh, no, I'm going to have to do that one again. Do that one again. Yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 5 loops, make a single crochet straight down into that next stitch. It's alright, I do know those are 4 double crochet and not 5 because I did misspeak, so I apologise. And there's another bobble stitch. And these are much firmer than puff stitches. Just as textured. More likely to find these on wearables because they are more hard wearing, more durable. So let's do that again. Yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That's it. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. There are 5 loops on your hook and 4 double crochet, half made double crochet hanging down from your hook. Yarn over, pull through all of those loops and make a single crochet into the very next stitch. Oop, that's it. So you keep going. Making those little bobble stitches. Oh, no, that was a slip stitch, not a single crochet. Dear oh dear. You can do slip stitches. It's just easier, and especially on the return pass, to make single crochets. And then one more. Got 2 stitches left. Make a single crochet into each of those. So 1 and 2. Then chain 1 and turn. It really is quite the difference. Although, as I say, you can make your puff stitches much bigger by doing 4 or even 5 yarn overs. It just depends. But where these are little puffs of yarn, these are much firmer. So we're going to make a single crochet in between and on top of every stitch. So that's in between every bobble and on top of every bobble, because the bobble will not lose its shape by putting a stitch directly on top of it like a puff stitch would. So you can make your stitches directly on top without having to worry about it. And then once you've made your single crochet, into every stitch, we can make our popcorns. Do you know what I did? I dropped a stitch down at the beginning there. It happens to the best of us. Because there's one there, and then there's one there because I offset, didn't I? Tusk me. You're watching a live version of That's What Happens When You're Not Paying 100% attention. But that's alright, because it gives everybody watching a little bit more time to make all of your stitches. It's fine. This is the place where we not only like to take our time, we have absolutely no trouble at all with not getting it 100% right. We're only human. But there you go, you can learn from my mistakes. Okay, that's much better. Lol, as the kids like to say. Okay, so popcorns. Now, popcorns are a group of stitches that are then drawn together up the top, but I'll show you what that looks like. So, you're going to chain either 2 or 3 depending on what your tension is like. I'm just going to chain 2. Now, going to skip, that counts as your first, that chain 2 or 3 counts as your first double crochet, and you're going to skip the next stitch after that, and in the following stitch you're going to make 5 double crochet. So into that following stitch, so you've got your first stitch, then you skip the next stitch, and into the next stitch you're going to make 5 double crochet. So yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you've got your 4th stitch, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then your final stitch, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've got your 5 double crochet. You're going to lift up the chain, take out your hook. Now count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put your hook under both loops of that first stitch, and then put your hook through the loop there, like that. Now pull down and pull the loop through the top of the stitch, like that. Let me show you that again. Count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pop your hook under both loops of that first double crochet. Pop your hook through the loop, then pull the loop under the stitch, in through the stitch, like that, so that you've pulled all the stitches together, then chain 1. And you have a popcorn. Now you're going to make a double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So that's 1 and 2. Pop your popcorn back through that way. Now skip the next stitch, into the next stitch you're going to make another popcorn. So skip this stitch into the next stitch. You're going to make 5 double crochet. So make your first double crochet, and your next, your third, your fourth, your fifth. Pull up the loop, take out your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count back to your first double crochet. Pop in your hook under both loops of the stitch. Grab the loop, pull down, pull that loop through the stitch, hang on a moment, that's it. Chain 1. This wants to curl up all the time at the moment, that's annoying me. Pop that out that way. Now make a double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Just gives you a little space in between each of them. Now the next one I'm going to leave some space either side of it so you can see it with space either side of it. So skip the next stitch and into the next stitch, chain 1, and into the next stitch. So skip that next stitch into the next stitch, make your 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And pull up the loop, pop your hook in through that first double crochet, grab the loop, draw it up through the stitch. Oh, Tell her I don't make popcorns very often, don't you? Not a moment. That's it. And then chain one. Leave it poked up this way for now. And skip the next stitch and make a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. So skip that one and make a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. Put that out that way now. That's it. Been a while since I've made popcorns. So that's the basic difference between popcorns, puffs and bobble stitches. And there is, as you can see, a difference. Puffs, remember, are just little puffs of yarn. Bobbles are a cluster of stitches, and then you make a single crochet immediately afterwards to draw them down. And then popcorns are 4 or 5 double crochet that you then draw together up at the top. And they're very often used for making crochet flowers and things like that. So that gives you a bit of an idea about puffs and popcorns and bobbles. There you go. We're all learning along together. So, lovely people, I will see you all again very shortly in the next tutorial. The next tutorial will be a stitch tutorial for the crochet along, which officially starts in a couple of weeks at the end of this month, which I'm looking forward to. It's a lovely, simple beginner project that's absolutely ideal for when you're just learning crochet. It's based on the single crochet and the extended single crochet, which are the only 2 stitches apart from chains and slip stitches that you're going to need to know how to do. And there are full details available on my community page, but I'll put some more details up again very shortly as well. I'll see you all again very soon. Take care. Bye bye.